Well, hello, White Sox fans. How you guys doing tonight? Hope you're doing okay, despite the 1-0 deficit the White Sox are facing in the second inning, with Michael Kopech giving up a solo shot to Shohei, having a 31 pitch inning. And, you know, overall, I guess things could be worse. But here we sit. After yesterday, one run almost it pretty much seems like an insurmountable odds. So
Yeah,
we'll we'll see
no
what
kidding.
happens. My name is Ian Eskridge. I'm here with my co-host, the Danny Miller. How you doing, Danny?
I've been better. A little under the weather here the last few days. Have a stomach virus, or at least my doctor seems to think so without doing a whole lot of testing. But yeah, what can I say, man? Watching this White Sox team, aside from Luis Robert here as of late, gives me the squirts, man. I don't know how else to put it, but yeah, I'm fighting through some things, but hoping to see some decent White Sox baseball tonight. So, and I'm here hanging out with you, man. So things can't be all that bad, right?
Yeah, things can always be worse.
Yeah.
Um,
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. You know, besides the fact that I can't even see my next door neighbor's house because of the
Oh,
air
right.
quality. I feel like I smoked 14 packs of cigarettes today, just from walking around outside. My eyes are always itchy. Um, I feel like I smell campfire no matter where I go.
Yep.
Um, and you know, I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Feel like I'm burned by the White Sox every time I turn them on the TV. Um, yeah. Other than that, everything's great. You know.
Good.
My parents just came up for my brother's kid's first birthday. They just had a party last weekend, so they came up from North Carolina. They were hanging out. They just swung by to say goodbye, and so they're on their way back to the hotel, and then they're out of here in first thing in the morning. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Sounds like fun.
yeah, not too bad.
Uh, yeah. At least you got to hang out. Happy first to the was it niece or nephew?
Nephew Wes.
There you go. Wesley, happy first birthday. Wes. Nice. Yeah, you bring up the smoke and the air quality and whatnot. Uh Talking to the wife a little bit earlier, she left for Indianapolis yesterday, and things were fairly normal when she left. And by late last night, I kind of noticed the smell creeping in, the smell of campfire.
Mm-hmm.
And then this morning, I got up and I went to the dock, and I was like, "Wow!" It looked like the fire could have been somewhere, right in the neighborhood. Hard to imagine that the amount of smoke and smell we were getting was coming all the way from Canada. But so I talked to her this evening, probably just about an hour and a half ago. She's down there in Indianapolis, and now she's seen it creep in and down there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, another 3 hours southeast of here. So, pretty wild stuff, man.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I took the boy out hitting last night, and we went out. When I was driving home from work, I was like, man, it looks kind of hazy. It's like, like the thought crossed my mind that it could possibly be from the from like the wildfires, but I was like I feel like that should have passed, but no, it's the wildfires, and you know, boy was out back taking some swings today, so I took him out to take a few swings out at the field, and we didn't stay out too long because I didn't want to be out there in that for too long. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's just
not good.
nasty.
Yeah,
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 thanks Canada for you know basically making our entire atmosphere awful. But like the cool thing is about those Canadians is you don't have to worry about them they'll apologize. So
Yeah, America's top hat. They got some class up there, man.
yeah, they apologize for anything and everything. So we sorry. Um, got the NHL draft coming up, so that's cool. You looking forward to that?
Yeah, waiting to hop on that Bedard train. Not that I'm not already on it, but let's make it official.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Should be cool. I mean, considering that we don't have much to look forward to with this White Sox team, I don't think. You know,
Yeah.
um, when you look at the overall state of things, I don't know if you saw the tweet from Josh Nelson earlier today, but
Uh
the
huh.
White Sox are sitting in the tankathon. They're sitting with the fourth best. Well, actually, I guess the second best set of odds at the moment. I think it's like 7.5%. The top odds are 16.5%, and three teams get that. And the White Sox are, of course, not one of them because they're playing just well enough that their odds are, second best. And they're 12 right now. They're sitting, I believe. What are they? They're 34 and 46. Does that sound right?
30. Yeah, 30. Yeah,
Yeah.
34 and 46.
Yep.
They're 12 games under.
Yep. 5.5 games back in the win column. But the Twins are currently losing. Um, they lost to the Braves 6-2, or they're losing to the Braves, or have lost to the Braves 6-2. They're leading the American League Central with a 40-41 record. Half game, one game below 500, leading the division. The White
Yeah,
Sox are 5.5 back, and yet I feel like no matter what they do or what the other teams do, how about that? No matter what the other teams do, the White Sox will outpace them or keep in lockstep with them just enough that they won't gain any ground.
yeah, I can see them finishing anywhere between 4 and 6 games behind the division lead this season. Now, there's another part of me that says, I could see them somehow eking the division out at right around 500, and everybody gets to keep their jobs, and we start right back where we left off next season, and everything is exactly the same, and no real progress is made. But we shall see with the deadline quickly approaching here. We'll start to get some answers on whether or not they're buyers, sellers, or stand pat. Uh, I know the whole world seems to think that they should be sellers. I am not against that whatsoever. But I don't trust that they're going to get a whole lot if they are sellers, unless they're selling off, their top two or three pieces. In which case, you can tuck it in for a really long ride after that.
Hey, Roodles, how you doing, bud? Yeah, no,
Rules.
I'm with you on that. Um, I mean, if the White Sox are, I think it was, if the White Sox were to get to like 85 wins or whatever, they have to play 20 games over 500 for the second half of the season. And
Yeah.
I don't know. The only thing that'll have to change for that to happen is everything on the offensive side of the
Everything.
ball, because, um, I mean, the only person that could say that in the good times that their game right now would translate is Luis Robert. That's literally it. Um, I mean, if you look down that, if you look through their batting order and you see what they're sending up to the plate every night, I mean, it's just a list of bad. Like Jake Berger had his moment. He's got 17 home runs, which is great. The issue is he's still hitting like 225.
Yeah,
So
he's got plenty of slug, not much else.
yeah. And the White Sox are dead last in OBP in all of baseball. Um, And pretty much for everything else, they're right in the middle. Batting averages in the middle, strikeouts in the middle, hits in the middle, home runs in the middle. Everything's in the middle as far as their offense goes. But
Yeah,
their
and as we've
OBP,
talked about in the past a little bit, that's a departure from last season where hits were up and they just couldn't, string them together in a timely manner to plate some runs.
well, I mean, the
This
common
year,
denominator here is that they're not walking at all. They're
well,
dead
that's the
last in
big
walks, just like they were last year. So therefore, their OBP, even though like last year, their OBP uh, was kind of masked because they had 8 billion singles. So it looked,
right.
like they had a high team batting average, and they had an okay OBP, not good, but was not completely dreadful. I mean, it was bad, but they just keep
Yeah,
on.
and then a middle of the road team OPS. It's like I said, the only real departure from last season is the amount of hits, the sheer number of hits, and like you said, most of that was singles. It was a ridiculous amount of singles last season. So yeah, they haven't been a whole lot of fun to watch. I
Yeah,
don't
I mean,
suspect that they will be anytime soon.
yeah, you can get 12 hits in a game, you know, and if 11 of them are singles and your one extra base hit comes in an other inning that you didn't get a single in, you could still score 0 runs, you know,
Yeah,
which they're pretty good at. Um, last night being one of those cases, you go tied into the bottom of the ninth, 1-1. Dylan Cease pitched a really good game. Um, Reed Detmers did as well, so kudos to him. Um, but both of them pitched a great game. So you get to the ninth inning, and you know Aaron Bummer and Yasmani Grandal can't manage to. Bummer can't manage to get anywhere near the catcher's mitt with any of his pitches, and a couple of wild pitches in a row, and Mike Trout scores, and they walk off the White Sox.
well, let me ask you this, and I almost want to say that no, I don't want to ask. Just tell me you didn't feel the same way I did when uh uh wow, I'm losing my mind here. Raylo comes out to start the ninth inning after pitching the full eighth, and he gives up first batter walk in the ninth inning, lead off walk to start the ninth, and immediately gets yanked. And then who do we see come in? Aaron Bummer with no outs in a tie ball game and a man on. Tell me you didn't feel the same way I did about that situation, because I immediately saw disaster written in the cards.
Um, I will say that I was not optimistic. You know, well, how about this? I was optimistic, um, but I pretty much knew exactly what was gonna happen there. I mean, you can't have a 6.66 ERA if your results are good. I mean, it's impossible really to have a 6.66 ERA if your results are anywhere
Right.
close to acceptable. And
Now,
I
meanwhile, Yasmani Grandal has thrown out two base runners on
in a
attempted
row.
steals at second base in a row here in the bottom of the second.
Yeah. And I saw a bunch of people complaining about Yasmani Grandal not stopping those pitches last night from Bummer,
Eh, they were
and
awful pitches.
oh, they were terrible, absolutely terrible. And the one that ended up, that Yaz was going to throw out. He's going to throw out Trout at third base. And so he's going to catch the ball and get his pop going. And dude can't, like he just can't hang, man. It's like there's, Bummer has like some weird peripherals that say that he's really good. But then, you just watch him in the game and it looks like there's zero confidence there. And there's always something. It's like whether it's a dribbler or like a duck snort, a Texas leaguer, whatever you want to call it.
Oh,
It,
shades of
it's all
Hawk here today.
yeah. I mean, it's always something. That just is something that I go, well, that was a good pitch. And he does, like there's so much movement on his pitches. Um, but like at some point, like I don't know how to feel about him. It's like I
I mean,
know
there
that
was a time that
yes,
he was untouchable.
yeah,
He seemed like he was unhittable. I mean,
yeah,
we got 3 really good seasons out of him. And then, some injuries and, some time away from the game. And it's just like you said, some of those peripherals say he should be almost as good as he was. And he just, I don't know, they just find ways to squeak one through or, you know, he throws that dart, that 55-foot dart that does, get away. And it doesn't happen all the time, but it seems to happen
it always happens
at
at the
exactly the
important
right
time.
moment. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly the right moment to give up the extra base that causes, a run to be plated. It's difficult to explain, but at the same time, it feels like we've seen this now, not just this season, but last season. The little bit that he was around. Uh, it just feels like every time he comes into the game, you got to hang it up. And I hate saying that about the guy because, like I said, there was that time where he was just unhittable. And I wish that guy would come back. Aaron Bummer he's shown everything that, could be shown that he was a great pitcher. Uh, why things happen the way they do is beyond me.
Well, I mean, if you look at his numbers, his FIP is only a 3.19, and his xERA is a 3.94. You know, Meanwhile, his ERA, you know,
It's up almost
oh no,
7.
this was last year. My bad. I had the wrong one highlighted. His xERA is 3.56 and his FIP is a 2.77.
Wow.
Yeah, and then his ERA, which yesterday, even with the inning he had yesterday, I guess because it wasn't his run that scored, his ERA actually went down to 6.58. He actually gained .08, ticked off of his ERA, which is great, I guess. But compared to last year, his BABIP allowed is actually 41 points lower than last year. So he's got a 343 BABIP. But the thing that has been a major issue is he's got 5.5 walks per 9. So, you know, yeah, I mean, you can't be doing that, You just can't. It's like you look at, the years that he was really good, like the years that, .99 whip in 2019, 1.07 in 2020, and even a 1.26 in 21 is decent. It's decent out of the bullpen. It's not great, but it's okay. But the last 2 years, 1.50 and 1.54.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't put 1.5 guys on base every inning, and especially when you come in with somebody already on base, there's like almost zero chance that guy's not scoring with a
Right.
1.5 whip. There's just no way. So, yeah,
Now,
it's tough.
yeah, it is tough. Just like everything else on this White Sox team, it's just a difficult watch.
Except for Luis Robert. Luis Robert's fun.
Yeah, let's talk about him a little bit. Why don't we do that? Let's
Talk
turn
about
things
something
around
fun.
and get into positive and yeah, fun side.
Yeah, you know, there's still, of course, as we've seen in this game already, they're swinging at low and away sliders, and you saw it yesterday as well. But he had two hits yesterday, one a nice home run, um, and I think what he had like four home runs in his last, or no, what was it, like three home runs in his last four at bats after his first at bat yesterday. So I mean, the
Right.
guy is, you know, out of his mind. I mean, we all knew he was super talented, and these glimpses that you get are what we were hoping for. And I think the issue that comes in to this whole thing with Luis Robert is that we get a player that is amazing for 2 weeks. And then for 2 weeks, we get a player that, is hitting 185. And then for another week and a half, he's hitting 400, with a couple of home runs. And
And
I think that,
usually when the hitting tanks, the fielding seems to tank right along with it. The read on balls in the outfield or hitting the cutoff man, and just silly mistakes that start to pop up. It seems like a lack of focus, in my opinion. But please continue. I don't know where you were going there.
no, I mean, it's just, that's the thing about Luis Robert, is that the guy is ridiculously talented.
Oh, he's a
And
freak of nature when he's
yeah,
got his head right.
a force of nature as well. The guy can do everything on a baseball field, except for probably throw eight different pitches like Shohei. Um, I mean, the guy can pretty much do everything out there, and he's fantastic. But the thing that we're still waiting for is the consistency. And don't get me wrong, I do not expect him to do what he's done over the last week throughout the entire year. I mean, there's just no way.
No, that's unsustainable.
Yeah, I mean, the guy's not going to hit 445, or whatever it was. He's not going to hit that for the year, you know. Um, so, but I guess like if he has enough of those hot cold streaks throughout the entire year, he could, foreseeably still hit 315 and have like a 950 OPS.
35 dingers or more.
Yeah, but if it's streaky, that's where the issue kind of comes in. That um, you just when you need those big hits, when he's in one of those slumps, you better look somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because if
Yeah.
there's four outside sliders in a row thrown to him, he'll swing at every single one. He might get lucky and get one of them with the cup of the bat. But he'll swing at every single one if it's anywhere near the strike zone when he's in one of those funks. So I don't know. I'm hoping that he can manage to sort that out. I get like one thing that I did definitely want to talk about here. When we bring up the lineup for the White Sox here, and just how awful the numbers are on these things. Um, when you see Jake Berger on there and Grandal on there, and Grandal hasn't even been bad, but it's just once you get past like the first couple guys in the, well, I guess not even really, because you got Tim Anderson in there who's also really struggling to hit. It's just that You know, I am just absolutely blown away that this entire lineup has just managed to forget how to hit a baseball, even to like a journeyman utility guy level. But then you see things like what happened last week, where Pedro Grifal says, "Oh, Tim wants to be a part of this," and so they insert Tim at second base and put Andrus at shortstop, and the Sox lose 3-1 because of an error at second base. Tim Anderson not catching a pickoff throw, and then Elvis Andrus just on a routine ground ball boots it, and next batter hits a 2-run home run. I mean, it's just and
yeah,
these guys are hitting 200, and clearly Tim Anderson's not healthy. There's still something wrong with his leg, probably. It's probably why he can't drive the baseball, is because there's something wrong with his leg, and he's got a bum shoulder. Yet you insist on keeping him here and not on the IL for unknown reasons. Can we not just put somebody on the IL if they're hurt? Why do we need to string this on for weeks on end when these people cannot play in baseball games, and when they do nothing constructive? I just don't. I'm so fed up with this nonsense. I'm sorry to start yelling at you, but I'm so aggravated with this stuff. We've been watching this for 2 years now of this crap where guy can't walk. So what? Put him in the lineup. Guy can't swing a bat with two hands. Screw it. Let him hit with one hand for a week and a half. What are we doing here?
Let the hate flow through you.
60% of Luis Robert is not going to be better than somebody with two functioning hands.
No. All the while, you bring up Popeye Rodriguez to ride the pine and start the clock on a guy who's in Double-A.
Well,
for apparently no reason. He comes out to pinch run.
He pinch ran and he played 1 inning at second base.
Yeah.
I saw people, explaining it, mansplaining it to everybody, that he's just there because he's the only infielder on the 40-man. That doesn't mean that we have to move around any roster space. You are still starting Elvis Andrus, who can't hit.
Right.
Why? What is the point? Why do you insist on starting the worst people when there's something that's potentially better? He's one of your top prospects. Okay? Yeah. Yes, he's coming up from Double-A. But you know what? Him going 0 for 3 or Elvis Andrus going 0 for 3, I don't care which one does it. I would rather that Jose Rodriguez does it, because I don't care about Elvis Andrus. He's not going to be here next year. And if he is, I'll beat my head against the wall next year. But I mean,
chances are Elvis Andrus is a utility player if he's still in the game at all next year.
There is no reason to prioritize getting this jackass at bats. There is no reason.
None.
Veteran leadership? Who cares? Getting, all the, quote unquote mentors that were very important to the success of the White Sox. That's what they talked about last year. Oh, Elvis Andrus came here and he told everybody in the dugout what's what, and that's why they're better now. No, they were better because he came here and he hit 400. Which of course, when he's hitting 200, you don't see anybody saying that now. Now the veteran leadership, is not as important.
And not to be a jerk face, but we told you so.
Yeah.
We told you it was going to happen. You heard it here.
Hey,
We
look at
told you it was
that.
going to happen.
Made a baseball play. How do you like that?
Mm,
Elvis made a baseball play as I'm sitting here yelling about him.
yeah, well,
I mean, that's the one thing that he's generally okay at. But the problem is that because he's old, he's lost a step. And because he's not an actual second baseman, like, yes, that was a nice play right there to get that out. But, he won't make those plays all the time that an actual second baseman will do, or somebody that's fast, like Jose Rodriguez.
yeah, I'll be honest with you. He made a play there, but I think he made it look a little more difficult than it needed to be completely honest. But,
Entirely
to
possible.
be fair, he did make the play.
He did.
So,
Yeah.
but anywho, I'm glad that stuff off your chest.
Yeah.
You've been holding back. I know you have. You've been doing it for the sake of trying your best to remain amicable, to remain as positive as possible. But, there comes a time when you got to start calling things for what they are. And, you are not alone in your feelings of why are we not making some sort of change to the way the lineup is constructed on a regular basis. Now, I get that there have been some injuries. I get that there have been some question marks pretty much up and down, but you have the pieces there to at least take a chance at something. You're not winning the division. So why not shake it up? What harm is there in shaking it up? And if you lose more games, well, then you're in that tankathon. Maybe your odds change and move up to that 16% or 16 whatever percent it is to find yourself in the hunt for that first pick in the draft next season. Not that they're guaranteed to do anything with it, but the drafting seems to have been better the last couple of seasons. Now, if it continues that way, remains to be seen. But if anything positive is going to come from this season, it may as well be that. I mean, or maybe finding a guy within your system who actually has some potential
Imagine.
over a guy who's 35 years old and he blows.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna go ahead and agree with you because yeah, I'm just like I at this point, like, I'm just, I yes, they could possibly win the division, but we
Sure.
talked about this. I mean, does it even matter? I mean, like, yeah, okay, so you get okay, cool, so you get a couple extra games at the end of the year, and it's entirely like it has happened, in recent memory where somebody has been, just eked into the playoffs and then ended up winning the entire thing. But I mean, let's be honest here. I have zero faith in them doing that. And if they do it, like, we know exactly what it's going to look like. It's going to look like, Giolito, Cease, Lynn, Clevenger, and Kopech pitching really well, and the offense doing the bare minimum, like they have been for the last 2 stinking years. Like, how many times are we going to run back this same idea? And you know, the problem is that they keep on prioritizing keeping these guys in there instead of seeing what they've got. And I'm not saying, obviously, like, I'm not saying that, Zach Remillard is going to be the end all, be all end all of what you're doing. But the guy right now has a better OPS. I'm almost positive. Hold on. Yeah, he's got 90 points on OPS on Elvis Andrus. I mean, granted, small sample size, but like I've been watching this guy do this through his entire run through the minor leagues for the White Sox, and he comes up here literally doing what he's been doing for every team that he's played for since Coastal Carolina and the Intimidators and the Dash and the Barons and then the Knights and now the White Sox. He's doing the exact same thing. He does all the little things right, plays solid defense, and he makes contact and does what he needs to do. I mean, that's what this guy's always done. He's exactly like Danny Mendick, but instead of Danny Mendick, they gave a 3-year contract to Leury, and then they let Mendick walk, and then they bring in,
Andrews.
yeah, Andrews, bring him back, and then sign Hanser Alberto. You know,
Yeah. While Zach Remillard just gets older and older in the minor league system, and Danny Mendick, goes somewhere else
mm-hmm.
for
Signs
guys
for $1
who are
million.
aging and not aging well. Why? Well, it seems like the same old song and dance with this White Sox team. Let's bring in a guy who's well past his prime, but he's a name, made a name for himself 5, 6 years ago. And, we're going to give him every opportunity, continually give him every opportunity after he has fallen flat on his face. You know, I mean, and, let's be honest, it's not like Elvis Andrus is even, the Jose Canseco or, Ken Griffey Jr. signing. You know what I mean? Those guys were actually ball players at one point in their career. Elvis Andrus had a couple of decent seasons.
Yep. In
He was,
2017.
yeah, he was no superstar by any means, but he had some decent years.
Yeah, his
And
his 2 big years were
yeah, 16 and
17
17, I believe, or
and
17.
they were 16 and 17. So I mean, you're talking 5 years ago that he had good seasons and he broke his elbow, and he hasn't been good since in the last 4 years. So obviously that seems like a guy that you would prioritize into getting into your lineup. I mean, granted,
Over
yeah,
a guy who's been tearing it up, year over year, league over league, every step of the way.
and is in the prime of his career. I mean, I mean, I know he's 29, and it took him that long to get to the White Sox. But like that's one thing that I see White Sox fans saying, well, you're starting a 29-year-old over Rodriguez, and I'm sitting here thinking, have you watched this White Sox franchise? The only reason he's 29 and this is the first time he's seeing major league action is because the White Sox don't bring him up, because they signed Larry Garcia to a 3-year, $16.5 million contract. I mean, like, you've seen the incompetence from the front office with this nonsense.
Yep.
Not
gonna do it. I thought off the bat Luis Robert went yard, but
it did not, unfortunately.
Did not have the angle. I think maybe if he had got that one up a little bit, it might have went, but it was too much on the line.
Yep. I mean, you saw Tony La Russa and the way he treated rookies, and how he wasn't going to play them. So that's why Remillard wasn't brought up before, over the last, 2 seasons. So the fact that Remillard is 29 when that whole nonsense with TLR coming here started, the guy was 26 at the time, turning 27. So, is it Remillard? I mean, if you go and look at Remillard's numbers, I'm almost positive that every season he's hit like 290, and above. With you know double digit home runs every year minimum. Like
Yep.
at least like in the low teens. I mean, the guy does nothing but play decent baseball, and they insisted on giving Larry Garcia a 3-year contract based on a playoff home run.
Yeah. One home run.
Yep.
Never mind the ball that he broke in on and let go over his head, but he hit a dinger in the playoffs.
Oh man, that play in right field, wowzers,
Hmm.
so terrible.
Absolutely awful.
Yeah. Anyway, um, yeah, I'm just like this the whole lineup. I'm just so angry right now, just as a fan. And like the thing is, like we do this thing every week, and the last thing that I want to do is be here and just like completely complaining about this stuff week in and week out. But I mean, nothing changes. If something changed, at least it would be like, okay, at least they're making a change and trying to do something constructive. But I mean, it's like, I mean, I guess they did change it and had Jake Berger there for a while, but he should have been there from the get. Just when you write your mistakes, that doesn't mean that I should give you credit for writing your mistakes. You shouldn't have made the mistakes in the first place.
Right.
You know? Oh, man.
Do you feel better?
No, I absolutely
No.
do not. I mean, I can sit here and, like you sit here and go down the OPS for this team. You know, Andrew Benintendi is one of your best at 7-11.
And he's shown a little spark since being moved into the leadoff spot here as of late, but I mean he hasn't been like awesome.
Yeah, no.
He's a good run here for a few games.
Yeah, I mean,
You know. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's like I look at Tim Anderson with his 550 OPS, and it's just that's your number 2 hitter.
Right.
Like Benintendi's been, yeah, I agree. Once he's been put in the leadoff role, he's been pretty decent for a leadoff man. That's fine. Which I don't need him to have a huge OPS. I'm more worried about the OBP and the batting average.
Right.
You know,
Right.
about him getting on base and doing that
Right.
stuff, and then not doing stupid things when he's on the bases and not doing stupid things in the field. That's what I need from him. And like, I
I mean,
mean,
I would like more from him,
yeah, of
with
course,
the highest contract in White Sox history.
yeah. No, I mean, but again, like we've said before, is that his fault? No,
No, not at all.
it's the White Sox fault for that being the biggest contract. And I mean, when you look
Good
at it,
for him.
yeah, I mean, but when you look at it in AAV, he's only making $15 million a year, so it's not like he's even making that much money. It just happens to be a compounded years that adds up to the most they've ever given somebody.
Right.
You know, I mean,
Right.
it's still not 9 figures.
No, it is not.
Like still have not given out a 9, and like fine, like I get it. That just because you pay somebody 9 figures doesn't mean it's a good contract. But I mean, it's 2023.
Yeah.
And they're like, what, one
By the
of
way,
3 teams that hasn't given somebody a 9-figure contract?
Michael Kopech just gave up a triple with one out.
Yeah, the good old Rengifo,
Yeah.
Luis Rengifo.
By the way, he's at 71 pitches currently in the bottom of the fourth. So it's going to be a short outing for Michael today, as if we did not know that the way the first inning started.
Yeah, I mean, but hey, if he can get out of this, only giving up 1 run through 5 innings a pitch. Say he makes it through the fifth. 5 innings, 1 run. I mean, you take that. I mean,
Like you
ideally,
said, 1 run feels almost insurmountable at this point.
yeah, but that's not his fault.
No, it is
It's
not.
his team's fault for running out this garbage lineup.
No, but if he only makes it 4 or 5 innings, then you've got to burn the bullpen.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And in a 1-run ball game, you're trying to win. So we're probably gonna see the likes of Gregory Santos, and we're probably gonna see Keenan Middleton, and you're gonna see your best bullpen arms get traced out there in a 1-run game. And if the Sox can't score to take a lead, you just burnt your best bullpen arms trying to get a win. And now what happens if you get a starter that goes like, say last night, it goes deep into the game and it's a tie ball game, and now you got to go back to those arms that aren't quite as great because you burned up the best arms in your bullpen.
Yeah, I think
It,
I
it's uh
I
it's
would
it's just a
say,
broken record of White Sox baseball.
yeah, no, 100%. I mean, obviously, you would prefer a quality start out of Kopech, and you would prefer that he
Absolutely.
do 6 innings with 3 runs or less. You would prefer
Yes.
that to the five. I don't know if you'd prefer it to 5-1, but at this point, like, if he can't get out of this inning here shortly, he'll be lucky to get 4.1, 4.2. You know, so but like obviously you'd like to get a quality start out of him, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised what we saw Tukey possibly. Haven't seen Tukey in a few days, so um, might throw him out there. But I mean, this is technically high leverage because they're only losing 1-0 at this point, assuming that he can get out of this inning, not
Yeah, but
giving
he's
up any
thrown pretty
runs.
well. I mean, he had a little hiccup his second outing, but his first outing was fantastic.
Yeah, for sure. Four shutout innings. I think you didn't even give up a hit. So I mean, you take that 100%.
Absolutely.
You know, but yeah, I mean the issue being that this team can't hit itself out of a wet paper bag, and it always speaking of the bag, the offense always leaves the pitching holding the bag. And they're the ones who end up losing the game in the long run because these idiots can't score more than 1 run. You know? It's like, how many times this year are we going to have to watch just a great pitching performance just go completely down the tubes because this team can't score more than 1 or 2 runs? You know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's just a revolving door of bad. Just a revolving door of bad.
Yeesh.
Yeah, another walk issued by Kopech. I'm gonna say he doesn't make it beyond the fourth. To be completely honest with you, he's
Man.
sitting at 80 pitches with 1 out. He needs a 1 or 2 pitch double play at bat here to even think about getting the fifth inning.
Yeah. That is rough.
So yeah. Anyway, what do you say? You got anything you want to talk about in the minor league system tonight?
Yeah, so the
You
only
know, maybe a little bit of the Cannonballers.
yeah, well, today Jacob Burke and Tim Elko made their Winston-Salem Dash
Thank you for reminding me.
debuts.
I did see that.
Yeah, the Dash lost 5-2. Um, Jonathan Cannon gave up all 5 runs. He looked good in the first inning, struck out Jackson Holiday on 4 pitches. I think that he only got 2 at bats against Cannon, and in his second at bat, he hit a double. and scored a run. But he might have had.
Speaking of Jonathan Cannon, he's the Sox lone player being added to the futures game coming up here for the All Star break. So kudos to him.
Yep. Let me see here. I didn't get to because I had to run out with the boy. So, yeah, Jonathan Cannon walked Jackson Holiday. So he had a 4 pitch strikeout, a 4 pitch walk, and I think the other at bat. I think it was 8 pitches. He hit a double. So he, it was an 8 pitch at bat, and he ended up hitting a double. Like I'm not gonna fault Jonathan Cannon for that. The unfortunate bit being that he scored on a single later, but Jacob Burke in his first at bat got a single up the middle, and Tim Elko, I think he had a walk only. Yeah, he had a walk. His first at bat, he had a 10 pitch at bat, and it was a really nice at bat to stay alive on a bunch of breaking balls. But he did eventually end up striking out. He had 2 strikeouts in the game. So, but yeah, the Winston Salem Dash were the only affiliate to play today. Not 100%. I think so. That way, on July 3rd, that they have most of their teams playing, and then on the 4th they have all the teams playing. So everybody else took the day off today, and the Dash take July 3rd, next Monday off, I think. So yeah, it's kind of a weird thing. Like
Yeah.
not 100% sure why they decided to do it the way that they did it, staggering it like that, especially considering that this is the first game of the second half of the season. So I find it kind of weird that the other teams kind of held off on that with it 4th of July coming up next week. It's kind of weird. Manager challenge. Oh, boy. Call overturned.
Hey. Now, Elvis Andrus made a heck of a play on that one. We dog him.
Yeah,
He
well,
makes a couple plays.
that's cool. I mean, like that's, I'm not, of course, I'm not going to be mad at him about it,
Although, your boy, or what'd you call him, Rengifo?
Yes.
Rengifo? I don't know, whatever you said.
Yes, good old
Yeah,
Luis Rengifo.
he of course scored. It is now a 2-0 ball game.
Sure is.
Michael Kopech is sitting on 86 pitches currently in the bottom of the 4th with 2 outs and a man on second. So,
Hey,
yeah, I'm really gonna go out on a limb here and say he's not coming out for the 5th inning. We're already seeing the bullpen active as they just showed, and I'm gonna
87
guess
pitches.
his night will be done at the end of the inning here. They can
87
get Mickey
pitches in the
Moniak.
4th.
Yeah,
Yeah, so my guess is that
the walks are killer, man.
Tukey's going to be the one to come out because they're going to need innings out of him. They're going to need innings out of somebody. So send out the Tukey. At this point, like, what do you got to lose? I mean, 2 runs? This team can't score 2 runs. Hey, Elvis Andrus has got 1 at bat. Did he get a hit?
No, he did not.
That is correct. He did not. Because the White Sox have 1 hit going into the 5th inning.
You're 4.
Assuming that we can make it to the 5th inning before they slaughter rule us. I mean, I know it's only 2-0, but why not?
Yeah. Yeah. And again, we've got guys. Popeye Rodriguez comes up. Tim Anderson is apparently healthy enough to play shortstop now. So Popeye Rodriguez goes back down. And they bring back a White Sox daily favorite to, take over the 4th outfield spot. Even though Tim has shown nothing to say that he is healthy enough to do anything.
Well, Tim Anderson has 2 at-bats. Did he get a hit?
No.
Yeah, that's gonna be the new. That's gonna be the new bit on here. I'm gonna make a new segment. It's gonna have music and it's gonna have a graphic and it's just gonna say, "Did he get a hit?" Like a game show.
No.
Yeah, no, he did not.
Hmm.
More often than not, and I know that that's the law of averages. With the way baseball goes, because 3 out of 10 are going to be no's most of the time. Did he get a hit? Even with a great player, but on the White Sox
Yeah,
version of
it's
that
closer
game,
as a team. It's closer to what
8.
2 out of 10 will be
Yeah.
yes.
Unfortunately, that is true. Just to run down these numbers here. So you got Andrew Benintendi, who's hitting 280. Yeah, buddy. Way to go. I'll take that with your 711 OPS. I'll take 280. That's fine. Um, the strikeout, no walks in 2 at-bats, that I don't particularly care for, obviously. But, I'll take those numbers. Then you got number 2, Tim Anderson, 234 with a 547 OPS. A 547 OPS.
In your 2 hole.
That and in your 2 hole. The other guy, your other middle infield combo guy who's batting ninth, a 202 average with a 540 OPS. Now, I know that Tim says he wants to be a part of this. What exactly it is that he wants to be a part of, I'm not sure. It's not like they were winning and he wanted to make sure that he didn't feel left out. Um, yeah, I don't have any idea. Um, but you have 2 guys that you prioritize getting in the lineup every day who have OPSs in the 540s. That's insane.
Yeah, just trying to force the issue.
I mean, like, that is. Like, those 2 guys alone with those kind of OPSs in your lineup, I mean, have to, like, I don't know what the exact percentage would be, but when you've got 2 of those guys in your lineup that have a 540 OPS and neither one of them takes walks particularly well, um, I mean, granted, Tim's got more walks than he's had, in a while, which is okay, great, good for you. But when you have 2 of those guys in your lineup, it's got to decrease your, percentages of scoring a run by like 25%. Like with one of them in the lineup, you could hope to get around it, and you would eat that. I mean, we've seen teams do that with their back, with their catchers for ages when they've got a
Yeah, 8
defensive
or 9
first.
hitter.
Yeah, exactly. You've seen that before. But when your number 2 hitter and your number 9 hitter,
Yeah. How do you even put him at 2 at this particular point?
no idea.
He can't hit his way out of a wet paper bag. Now, the way Andrew Benintendi's been getting on base in the 1 hole, leading off and doing I won't say everything a leadoff hitter is supposed to do, but doing some of the things that a leadoff man is supposed to do. How do you expect to bring him around
No idea.
when you can't get him to even move over a base because Tim Anderson's not I mean, yeah, he's walking. He's walking more than he has, but it's not like he's walking an immense amount either. And he's hacking away at some stuff and he's hitting into double plays and you know, I mean, you're shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah, I mean, you
You're,
pretty
you're,
much have to.
it's designed to fail.
Yeah,
And I was
100%.
hoping for more from Pedro, honestly.
I mean, I don't
You
know
know,
that it's his doing. You know?
oh well, if it's not his doing, honestly, if it was me, you pay me to be a manager,
Yeah. Well, that's what Art
and
House said in
I'm not,
Moneyball.
I'm not. Well, yeah,
How'd that work
okay,
out for him?
yeah. Art Howe took a walk.
Yeah, and he
That's fine.
traded his first baseman. Come on, man.
I would. I still. I don't know why we're treating these older veteran players with kid gloves. There's zero accountability. Zero. You know, I wish somebody would come out publicly say, you know what, these guys stink and they're gonna sit, and I'm gonna play the rookies because you know what, I have nothing to lose.
Hmm.
Because if the rookie doesn't produce, guess what? This guy isn't producing either. And if this guy wants to earn a contract next year, maybe he should get his shit together. Pardon my French.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And like the thing is that if Tim Anderson at least played really good defense, I could somewhat say, okay, cool.
No, he's been absolutely awful
But
with the
his
glove this year.
defense has been awful as well. At least Elvis Andrus, for the most part, I know he did boot that one the other day that we talked about earlier. But like generally he plays at least acceptable
He's
defense and he
serviceable.
doesn't
Yeah,
throw the ball away all the time. You know?
right.
Um so yeah, I mean I would have 100% rather seen a Remillard Jose Rodriguez infield than Andrus and Tim Anderson. And all the people that are going to get mad at me about the Tim Anderson thing, well, guess what? Whatever.
Well, give me a reason to not say things like that.
Yeah.
Any one of those people that want to say, "Oh, you're stupid to want to trade Tim Anderson," or "Tim Anderson's still a badass," uh, show me, show me where. Wow, Yasmani getting doubled off on a fly ball at first. This is typical White Sox baseball, folks. If you're here alive with us on the stream, whether or not you're chatting with us in the
if
stream, you're
if
listening,
you're
you're watching this
alive.
game. Yeah, well, chance if you're alive at all,
Ugh.
if you're watching this debacle at all, because I wouldn't blame you if you took an evening to, I don't know, throw a movie on and, jeez, snuggle with the wife, maybe. I don't know, whatever, whatever. I wouldn't be mad at you for it, but yeah, I mean that's just White Sox baseball. Soft looper in the right field, and Yasmani was like, it's perfect time to just take off.
Good old
And we all know
Wheels himself.
yeah, he's not exactly fleet of foot, so he gets halfway, he's dead to rights.
Finally got somebody on
Unbelievable.
base, and he
Yeah, he
gets
pokes
doubled
one up
off.
the middle, and it looked like we get something going here, and then he gets doubled off. Unbelievable, unbelievable. Whatever.
Yep, that's pretty much
I
how I'm starting to feel about 2023 White Sox. Is yeah, whatever. I mean, it's just I
uh,
if the front office isn't going to do anything, if the guys in the clubhouse aren't going to do anything, then what reason do I really have to put in a huge amount of effort on this team? You know what I'm saying? They're not putting in a huge amount of effort. Like the whole thing, like this team aggravates me enough as it is. You know, to
yeah,
have hope at this point. I'm not even gonna go there at this point and get any kind of like like there's no way I can look at this team and think that anything is going to happen this year at all.
right.
Even if they pull out of out of the tailspin even just a little bit, and
Well,
get to, I don't know, say even 6 games below 500, which would be cutting their games in half because they're 12 under right now. even if they could get to 6 under, like I have zero faith that it wouldn't be at 10 6 days later,
Right.
you know?
Right. Well, they say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. And yet here we are. This White Sox team does the same thing over and over again, and the results are the same. Lo and behold. And as a fan, I feel like the same thing. Maybe I'm insane for watching these clowns every day. Maybe it's time for me to make a change and start watching less. I don't know. Why should, like you said, why should I invest so much time and emotion into something that disappoints me so much? It just feels like a bad relationship. It feels like that ex-girlfriend that you poured everything into and she just stepped all over your heart. You know what I mean? And you kept trying. Just kept trying. Well, you know what? I eventually got rid of her. And probably, you feel like I feel like I'm gonna have to do the same thing with the 2023 White Sox. I'm just gonna have to eventually let it go. And I held so much hope. I honestly did. Even after a slow start
We
in
tried
April.
so hard.
April and May, things started to turn around a little bit, a couple series. It brought me back just a hair, but I still had that cautious optimism. It's never really been anything more than cautious. And they just let me down over and over again.
Well,
I think maybe it's time to just, not invest as much time. I definitely won't invest as much money.
no.
I have 3 sets of tickets that were purchased before the season started that I will probably use just because I have them and I'm not going to let them go to waste. I paid good money for them. But I don't think I'll be buying any more. I don't feel right putting any money into a team that makes me feel the way the White Sox do this season.
Yeah. I mean, if you haven't already spent money on it, um, unless they come out with like that park pass that they used to have back during the rebuild, where you'd pay like $40 or whatever, and then you get like the entire month. You'd get to go to all the games during the month. Um, unless they do something like that, I wouldn't. Like why would you bother? What's the point?
I don't even know if I would do that, honestly.
I
I feel like
mean,
my time would be better spent doing other things.
yeah.
But
Grim.
it is. You're right. It's fun to get out to the game.
It is,
But
yeah. And when
we've
you've
talked
got
about
zero
this. I don't want to beat a dead
expectations,
horse.
it's like during the rebuild. Like we didn't have like really that crazy of expectations. Like hoping to see like a good performance here and there, and you could root for an individual performance because
Right.
the entire outcome of the game was inconsequential at the time. So when
No,
I
you
would
were hoping for 1 or 2 or 3 of the developing players to
exactly,
do something.
exactly, that's what I would go for at this point because like I look at this.
Hey, Stooky.
Here comes my guy, Toke. Yeah. So, um, I have zero faith. Grimtall says watch the Dodgers or old NASCAR from the '80s on YouTube.
I'm down with watching old NASCAR. If I'm not watching the White Sox, I probably don't want to watch baseball at all. I don't want to and I know Grimtall is a big Dodgers fan. So thanks for hanging out with us while we talk about
Well,
this
I mean,
piss
he
poor
likes the
team.
White Sox too.
No, I get it.
But
But I just as salty as I am right now,
yeah,
I was I'd rather not even be reminded about what this team could look like by watching a team that I don't know actually knows how to play baseball. So, yeah, and I mean, I appreciate the suggestion. I think I will stick with the NASCAR suggestion there as opposed to watching the Dodgers. By the way, thanks for coming in as usual, keeping us honest yet again. Man, this guy, he's something else, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Even when the Sox are floundering and listenership and viewership is down across the board for all White Sox podcasters and streamers.
Yep.
You know, Grim Talk keeps us honest around here. We do appreciate you, buddy. We really
Yep.
do. That's a good friend you got there, Ian.
Thank you. I like him. Yeah. He says current NASCAR is like the 2023 White Sox.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I've been asked because people know anybody that's known me or paying attention to me at all in the last few years knows I'm a amateur racer myself, and you know, everybody always wants to know, what do you think in the NASCAR Road Series here
In
in
Chicago?
downtown Chicago?
Yeah.
Yeah,
What do you think
the
about that?
Grant Park 400 or whatever it is, Grant Park 200. Uh, you know, I gotta be honest with you. I'll watch it on TV. It's fine. You know, this giant event that they're making a spectacle out of it. A couple of really big concerts. I mean, awesome. You know, great if it's bringing in money for the city. Fine, whatever. But for me, you know, everybody's, are you going? You going? You go down there and check it out? Absolutely not. It's going to be a logistical nightmare. And just like the White Sox, this city doesn't exactly handle big events very well. So,
Yeah, I was gonna
uh,
say, like, I went to Taste of Chicago once, and after dealing with that nonsense, never again. I worked at Lala several times, and working at those shows made me definitely not want to go to them. You know, like when there's like an event like that downtown, I want to be absolutely nowhere near it if I can
yeah,
avoid it.
no, no, no. It's just it's going to be an absolute mess. So I will sit here and enjoy my weekend at home. You know, light up the night sky with some fireworks when hopefully I'm feeling better by Saturday. We are, hey, Tony Turkey Trot coming across your screen.
Yeah, I haven't
You
done
know,
that one in a little while, so I figured I'd bring him back
nah,
out. Let him get out there,
something makes me
stretch his
smile.
legs. You know.
Yeah, having some folks over on Saturday night, as long as the old viral infection in the gut clears by then. But yeah, really hoping not to have to cancel that one because I got a lot of fireworks and big investment in fireworks that like to put on a show for the people every year. But yeah, I'll be doing that on Saturday evening. So you know, other than that, I think I'm just gonna leave these White Sox alone, man, for a few days. I'm just gonna get my mind off of it. I'll live through White Sox Twitter maybe. Kept my updates from the Googles.
Well, you got Xavier. Xavier will certainly give you a recap and a preview of the game.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I'll check in with White Sox Daily and Xavier. You know, posting some stuff there for us on the page. Absolutely.
NASCAR in a bad state. Their number one selling diecast car is a driver who retired in 2017. Who's who's that? Is that Jeff Gordon?
Dale Earnhardt.
No, 2017. Oh, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Maybe.
Junior.
Okay.
Sorry.
I was gonna say, senior didn't make it that far.
No, he did not. Yeah, no.
It's not even a NASCAR series. It's his late model. Hmm. All right then.
Really, his late model diecast is what they're. Wow. Okay. I have so my race, the captain of my race team has an entire collection of diecasts. I have one, and it is the number 37 Little Caesars John Andretti car. Only reason for
Little
that is
Caesars.
yeah, the only reason for that is our our 24 Hours of Lemons car is modeled after that
Oh, okay, that
because
makes
in
sense.
1990, yeah, in 1996, Ford was getting rid of the Thunderbird, and I should say, I think it was the following year they were getting rid of the Thunderbird, but NASCAR was, going to be needing a different platform to go off of, and we are driving a 1996 Lincoln Mark 8. So, little known fact, one of the teams, the Crane Fuss Haas team, saw uh, the Lincoln Mark 8 platform being an MN12 platform, just like the Thunderbird was, as a viable replacement. So they built a car, John Andretti being their driver, and he test laps in it and turned some really, really fast laps in it, and NASCAR approved it.
Hmm.
And right before it was going to go into NASCAR, Ford nixed it, saying they didn't want their luxury brand attached to hillbilly racing. So, little fun fact for you there. But
That's nice.
that's why I have that. That's the only diecast I have.
Hmm. I have I think I have like a Matchbox size car. Uh, Bobby Labonte Interstate batteries.
Oh, I was a big fan of the Labonte brothers,
Yeah,
and I did like Bobby's green Interstate Batteries car. It was, I don't know, something about that.
yeah, it was a cool car.
The color scheme was nice.
Yeah, that's not when I
And I
was
was a bigger fan
working.
of Terry Labonte.
Yeah, and that was a Terry Labonte. Was he like Kellogg's or something? Is
He
that right?
was. He was the
Yellow.
number 5 Kellogg's car in many different colors over the years, including silver, because he was the Iron Man, I believe, in 1996. I want to say
Hmm.
97, 95 or 96 actually. Most consecutive races started by a driver. So one race he did the all silver car.
Hmm. Yeah, I didn't have like any like NASCAR stuff other than that Bobby Labonte car because I won that. I used to,
Oh,
like when I was
PTRs.
working on cars way back in the day. I got tickets to the Michigan 400, and they gave me that car as part of it.
I hear that's a nice track.
Yeah, it's you know what I will say, like I can understand how people don't like watching NASCAR on TV. Um, like I get it. It's just a bunch of guys driving and turning left a lot. On oval tracks. Um, but going to see it live is 100% different. If you go
Yeah.
down by the straightaway, down in front when the cars are driving by you, and that doesn't like raise the heart rate up a little bit,
Yeah.
I don't know what can be done for you because it's something like when one of those things drives by you at like 185 miles an hour.
Yeah. I gotta say, I've been to a bunch of NASCAR races here at the Chicagoland Speedway when they're
Yeah,
still doing the races there. And I was fortunate enough to know some folks that had a hand in parts of the stadium there, and mostly the outside stuff, Champions Park and all that. And a buddy of mine worked for those folks. So I was always privy to infield passes. They were grandfathered in. They had their spot
nice.
on the infield for forever. Um, so we'd pull an RV out there and party for 4 or 5 days straight. And being on the infield and walking up to the edge of the fence where you could almost spit on the cars as they drive by you is pretty fantastic. And I've had the opportunity to actually get up on the back straight where there's no seating. They have some camping up there, but get to know some folks that work actually for NASCAR and at the racetrack, work for the track. Got some access, and I got to tell you, man, standing up there about 5 feet off the track, 5 feet off the wall, and those cars are coming by you in that straightaway, like you say, up anywhere between 180 and 200 miles an hour, you can actually feel the marbles, which is what they call the little bits of rubber coming
Yeah.
off the tires, hitting you in the face, and the smells and the sound you can feel the force of the wind as they go by that envelope that they're pushing out in front of them. Pretty exhilarating.
It's intense. I will 100% give anybody that. Um, and like I said, I understand people not wanting to watch it on TV, but seeing it in person and seeing these guys, just cruising along at insane speeds. I mean, even if there's not a wreck, it's super intense. You know,
It really is.
um, if I had, if I got tickets to go to that, I'd go check it out again. It was fun to go, but I will not go to the one in Chicago. That's for sure.
No, no, I'll go to any, actual course, actual, sanctioned NASCAR stadium, if you will, any track that's out there. But I'll even do the road courses that they do that are actual road courses, like Road America, when they did that, was it last year or the year before?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you know, when they do, Watkins Glen or any of those, I do those road courses because they're actual courses.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But I mean, and it's a cool idea to have a street race like they're doing, but it's just something that I'd much rather watch on television. To be completely honest with you, and I don't know if it would change my mind if city other than Chicago or not, because I just feel like it would be probably a logistical nightmare about anywhere you would go.
Hey,
So
Elvis Andrus just took the White Sox first walk of the night versus
I
seven
mean, maybe we
strikeouts.
should dump on him more often.
I guess. I mean, he's
I mean,
still terrible, but at least he got on
yes.
base once. Um, just out of curiosity, I know that you don't know this, so but I'm gonna ask you anyway.
Okay.
Gavin Sheets' last 7 games. How many hits in his last 7 games do you think he has, or in the last
One.
7 games for the White Sox? Yes, one. He's
One.
1 for 11 at an 091 with a 231 OBP and a 091 slug.
Yeah, gets to start at first base today, so Andrew Vaughn can DH.
Yeah, Andrew Vaughn. Like the home runs have showed up a little bit lately for Andrew Vaughn. But what keeps on spiraling down is his batting average.
Yeah,
Not
the
getting
batting
on
average and
base.
the OBP don't look great.
Yeah. I mean, the OPS is at
You know,
757, and that's at least respectable on a major league.
yeah, league wide, non-positional. You're not putting a position denominator on it. Yeah, of course it looks all right, but as a first baseman, not great.
Okay, so
You
you so
expect your corner outfielders to have some, you know, higher OPS numbers than that.
okay, so the White Sox have one out,
Two
and
on.
Elvis Andrus walked, and Andrew Benintendi singles. So now who comes up? Tim Anderson.
Oh,
Um,
Shohei, by the way, in the sixth inning is at 83 pitches now.
yep.
84. Pardon my
What
French.
is going on here with this broadcast here? Just in my house. It's probably just in my house. Kept on going black screened on me.
Yeah,
Um,
no, I'm good. It's just funny. Tim Anderson is now down in the count 0-2. I almost expected him to be uber aggressive with two runners on.
I'm expecting a rollover double play is what I'm expecting. Oh, but luckily they still have a shot here.
Ooh, punch out.
0 for 3, 3 Ks.
3 straight pitches on that one. Although I will say that last one was probably 2 inches inside.
But you know how the saying goes. Anything close.
Oh no, it looks like it might have just caught the edge.
Yeah.
But yeah, 2 strikes. You need to be protecting.
Yep.
He just had the bat shouldered.
At least Luis Roberts up. So
Here we go.
there's if he walks, then Aloy's up. But the problem again is that you've got a guy with a 545 OPS in the 2-hole.
Right.
Like I said, when
Right.
you've got
Taking opportunities away.
when you've got 2 of those guys in your lineup, it has to decrease the odds of you scoring a run by like 25%.
At least.
Because
At least.
you know that you're not going to string together multiple things.
No, and when they're at 9-2, when they're the 9-hole and the 2-hole hitter, there's going to be times throughout the game where that 9 spot wraps around to the top of the order, and these guys are only one batter apart at this point. The only thing separating them is Andrew Benintendi. After the first time that they go through the order, it's very possible that can happen more than once throughout the game.
Off the end of the bat,
Oof.
Luis Robert puts
Wow.
one into foul territory. See, and the issue here also, okay, so Elvis Andrus does take the walk, but the problem is that he's slowed down over the years, like we've talked about. And when Benintendi, say he got a single somewhere else, not just dropped right to the left fielder or whatever, imagine that he put it, it was still a single, but it was, where the guy, there it is. Luis Robert strikes out. Yikes. Luis Robert has faced Ohtani 3 times, has struck out twice. Say Benintendi puts the ball at least, where the guy has to jog to go get it. No matter what, Elvis Andrus still isn't going first to third because he's slowed down a little bit.
Right.
So, regardless of what happens there, you still are going to need at least a base hit. At least a base hit to score another run. Because if he goes first to third, he could possibly score on a wild pitch like Trout did the other night. But because he can't go first to third, it definitely has to be at least like a slightly deep single in order for him to be able to get in. Because he's going to have to go from second to home. So he's going to have to be able to, make it 180 feet. And, yeah, it's just tough. When everybody in the entire order has a garbage stat line, not really a whole lot you can do.
No. So disappointing. Oh, boy. Well, what do you say we put a bow on this thing?
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, I'm ready. I was ready a half an hour ago, but we just started talking and Grimtall showed up, so I was like, hey.
Yeah, well,
we can talk about some other things that are
NASCAR gave me something, to talk about that I actually like talking
exactly
about right now.
we got at least something entertaining in there. Like we could sit here and talk about music. I'll talk for hours because I don't have to worry about how many runners are left in scoring position by at the gates. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I just bring that up because me and Grimtall were talking about, Grimtall says, death metal hot take time. Yeah, that's one of the things we've been talking about the last couple of days. He thinks that At the Gates is better than Carcass, and I don't know, man.
Oh, say what now?
Yeah, I don't know if I can.
I can't get behind that.
Yeah, I
I
mean
you know,
that's
Carcass goes back to like my childhood days. Growing up on the metal, and I mean, one of the earliest metal bands I was introduced to. Honestly,
yeah. I mean, Grimtall was the first guy that I listened to Carcass with back in the day, and he's a huge Carcass fan. That's why it's pretty funny that he brings that he brought the whole thing up. But you know, yeah, one of these times, like like I've always toyed with the idea of doing like some sort of a music podcast slash stream, just because obviously it's what I do for work. So it would be, I enjoy talking about it, but just never gotten around to it.
all right. Well, let me ask you this. I won't try to string this along too much, but let's just get down to the meat and potatoes of this thing.
Mhm.
What is your all time favorite metal band?
Oh man, that's tough. I'd have to say, and like I'll get, I don't know. Some people will be like, "Oh, that guy, what a sissy," but I'd have to say Opeth is my personal favorite because you get melody, good songwriting skills,
Corn. Very
progressive feel,
corn.
and also death metal. So and it's always generally done pretty tastefully. So that's my favorite.
Okay.
Yeah,
Grimtal says corner. Corner is his favorite.
yeah, solid.
Uh, I may have to go with the South American connection and go with Sepultura.
Yeah, see now, I can dig on the Sepultura until after Roots when Max left. Once Max left, I was done. Like Derek, the new guy for Sepultura, not my cup of tea. But
I no, I can see that. I can
yeah,
see that 100%.
I mean, is that Beneath the Remains, Arise, Chaos AD, uh,
Yeah, Rise was
Roots? Yeah, I mean, there's
hell of an album.
so much. There's a lot of good stuff, and like I will say, I will concede that like some of the lyrics are a little basic, but live they were really really good. A lot of
Yeah,
fun.
yeah. Creator's got to be another one that's up there for me.
Oh, German death metal. Yeah, we had them at the Pearl Room down in Mokina ages ago. Um, I was lucky enough to see quite a few good shows down there. Guitarists from Corner did an album with them, Black Sunrise. Interesting.
Hmm.
Going completely off the rails. Anybody that's into baseball but not
Guitars from
into death metal
Corner
is
didn't
like,
have
what?
with who? With which one?
I would assume that's
Sepultura
Sepultura. I would assume.
or
Oh,
Creator?
Creator. Yeah, that would make more sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, the
Got to be Creator. Oh,
one of the
there it is. It
bands.
just showed up in my chat.
What's that?
It just showed up in my chat. I don't know if my chat is slow or what,
Oh,
but it did
gotcha.
just show up in the chat that he
Um,
said Creator.
one band
Ooh, almost took his head off.
that Grimtall gave me way back when, Revocation, and like for whatever reason, like I just never listened to it. And then
I don't think I even know who that is. I don't know if I've ever heard it.
yeah, just one of the songs just happened to pop up on like my shuffle on my I was driving in the car, and I was like, oh man, what the heck is this? It was really good. I was surprised. Never knew. Coroner was Celtic Frost's Roadies. Did not know that either.
I did not know there. See, learn something new every day. Maybe
Yeah,
we should do a metal pod,
yeah,
huh?
probably.
If you did one, I would listen for sure. I'd
Y-
check it out.
yeah, like I had thought about doing like interviewing people that I know and doing like a podcast like that, but just never. I don't know. It's just like I don't
Your
know.
buddy's rolling with the couch refs, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, Mike's great.
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of that, man. He's doing a lot of good stuff there.
Yeah, I just I went because he's out on tour with he's playing bass for Ugly Kid Joe, and so I
And
went
they're
and
still around, huh?
yeah. Well, no, they're back around. They they didn't tour for they didn't play in the States for like 20 years. I think their last tour was in 1992 or 1993 here in the States. So this is their first tour in the States in like 20 years or something like that.
Okay.
And so he's playing bass for them. So I got to go and hang out with him when they played the Arcada in St. Charles. So I went down there and hung out with him, and yeah, he did one of the recent podcasts, one of the recent Couch Riffs podcasts that he did. It is with the guy, the like creative force of the band Netherlands, and that one was pretty interesting. That guy has got interesting viewpoint on things. And if you have not heard Netherlands, um, they're different. There's not. I can't say that there's like really any other band that sounds like Netherlands. And it's kind of heavier, kind of almost industrial, but not really. Um, but yeah, I can't think of any like if I was gonna describe it, I'd kind of say it's like a dark version of like Queens of the
Stabbing
Stone Age,
whisper.
kind of.
Oh,
Like a little bit more
okay.
of like a gothier, dirtier version of Queens of the Stone Age, I guess. It's just it sounds
Okay.
different than everything else, which is kind of the same thing.
Netherlands, huh? I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, it's interesting. Um, yeah. So yeah, we didn't want to drag that out too long. Yeah, you go ahead and call Dan and get him on the Metal Podcast. That would be kind of fun. That'd be interesting.
I would tune in,
Yeah,
and I'm sure you'd get plenty.
yeah. Dan Swano from Edge of Sanity. That would be pretty sweet. I would I would have to just talk about the Nightingale, and I'd skip over the other stuff. He's in this band Nightingale, and they're like just like a straight up rock band. Awesome band. Guy's got a great voice, great producer as well. All right, so yeah, because we just completely gone off the deep edge. Um,
Yeah, whatever.
thanks for
What
coming and
else have we
hanging
got
out.
going on?
We appreciate that, everybody that's in here. Thanks for coming and hanging out and chat, and hope that we'll see if the White Sox can manage to pull something off here. Otani's at 102 pitches in the top of the seventh, and there's guys on first and second with one out. Jake Berger's up, and pitching coach is
It's
on
like
his way.
Otani's getting the hook.
Is that the
No,
pitching
I don't
coach?
think
That's the
so.
pitching coach, right? Yeah,
It's
the
pitching coach. He's gonna get a talking to.
Yeah,
Keep everything down. Get the double play.
he's gonna get scolded. I don't think so.
You got Yasmani Grandal in first base. All you got to do is keep everything down. And remember, Jake Berger's got plus speed. That's
You
the
know,
conversation right now.
yeah, 98th percentile. No, Grimtall, the Sox
Oh, they
did
brought
not
in
lose yet.
Clint Frazier pinch running for Yaz.
Hmm. I mean, I guess you might as well, because I wouldn't really be worried about Yasmani coming up again in the game, because that
Oh,
would make it that you're assuming that we're going to get fully through the lineup again. in
Now we got like the
the 8th
entire
and
coaching
ninth.
staff and trainer coming out to the mound here. What's going
Oh,
on?
boy.
Shohei's getting the hook.
Yeah, that's...
But I mean, was it really necessary to bring half the dugout with you?
Yeah, I don't know.
What was that all about?
I don't know. It's kind of odd. I mean, because he's still out there and he was still going to pitch. So my guess is that it's not anything serious, because maybe a blister, possibly, or something along those lines.
They just needed to talk him off. He was out there telling them, "No, I'm staying here,"
Yeah.
and they were like, "Ah, come on and get him. Come get him."
Yeah, I suppose
I
that's
don't know.
possible. Yeah, but anyway, I don't want to hold you on here while dealing with this nonsense.
Yes.
Anyway, at Daily White Sox on Twitter, whitesoxdaily.substack.com for written material and this podcast. You can find this podcast / stream on YouTube. We also have a Facebook group as well. Please subscribe and leave a comment if you would. And we will be on next week. And hopefully there's some sort of a... I don't know how you could... Hopefully there's something definitive going on at that point. But we'll see.
I mean, really, at this point, I'm just fine. I'm hoping there's something worthy to even discuss.
Well, I mean,
And
there's
we're
always
not
something
beating
to
a dead
complain
horse here.
about, I guess. It's just
Yeah, just I feel like we're beating dead horses left and right here.
yeah. I mean, if they can manage to start hitting, maybe we can actually start having positive conversations. That would be wonderful.
That would be fantastic.
All right. Well, my name is Ian Eskridge. For my co-host, the Danny Miller, you guys have a great night, and we will speak to you next week. Thanks.